This one goes out to Blue.
Early one morning the sun was shining, and I was laying in bed. I was wondering if she's changed at all, and wondered if her hair was still red. Her folks said our lives together were sure gonna be rough. Well, they never liked Mama's homemade dress, and Papa Bank book wasn't big enough. He was lying on the side of the road with the rain falling on his shoes, headed out for the East Coast. Lord knows he's gotta pay them dues. He's getting through, tangled up in blue. Well, she was married when they first met, soon to be divorced. Helped her out of a jam, I guess I used a little too much force. She drove that car as far as they could and abandoned out west, splitting up on a sad dark night, both agreeing to be the best. Well, she turned around to look at him as she was walking away. Heard her say over the shoulder, they'll meet again someday on the avenue, tangled up in blue. Well, he had a job in the great North Woods, working for a cook as a spell. Never liked it all that much, one day the axe just fell. So he drifted off to New Orleans, and he happened to be well employed, working for a while on a fisher boat docked out at Detroit. But all the while, and he was alone, and the past was close behind. He's seen a lot of women, though they never escaped the mind, and those feelings grew, tangled up in blue. Well, she was working in a topless place, and I stopped in for a beer. Kept a look on the side of her face, and the spotlight so clear. Later on, as the crowd thinned out, and I was about to do the same, she stood there in the back of my chair, saying, "Now, don't I know your name?" I muttered something neath my breath as she studied the lines upon my face. I must admit I felt a little uneasy when she bent down to tie the laces of my shoe, tangled up in blue. Well, she lit a burner on the stove, offered me a pipe. Thought you never said hello, she said, you look like the silent type. And she opened a book of poems and handed it to me, written from the Italian poet from the 13th century. And every one of those words rang out and pouring on like coal, pouring off of every page like it was written in from my soul, from me to you, tangled up in blue. Well, I'm lived with them on a Madigan Street, in the basement under the stairs. There's music in the cafes at night and revolution in the air. He started dealing with slaves and something inside of him died. She had to sell everything she owned and she froze up inside. And when the bottom finally fell out and I became within drawn, the only thing I knew how to do was just keep on moving on like a bird who flew, tangled up in blue. So I'm going back again, I got to get to them somehow. All those people that we used to know, now they're illusions to me now. Some are math musicians, some are truck drivers' wives. Don't know how it all got started, and I don't know what they're doing with their lives. But me, I'm still on the road, and I'm headed for the next joint. Never seen from the same, we just saw it from a different point of view. tangled up in blue.